Death. Death. Death.
President Trump has made several false claims about violence against white farmers in South Africa in a tense meeting with the country's president. He played this video on a big screen in the Oval Office, saying it showed burial sites for over 1,000 white farmers. But it doesn't show burial sites at all. The crosses, in fact, were part of a protest in 2020 against the murder of 2 white farmers who were shot dead on their farm. Trump also held up a series of articles which he said were evidence of killings. He pointed to this blog post and said it showed white farmers being buried. But the image isn't from South Africa. It's actually from a report about women being buried in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Trump has repeatedly made a discredited claim that there's of white farmers in South Africa. The country has one of the highest murder rates in the world. There were more than 26,000 murders last year, according to police figures. 44 were of people within the farming community, and 8 of those were of farmers. The figures aren't broken down by race, but they clearly don't show a of white farmers as Trump claims. Earlier this year, a South African judge dismissed the idea of in the country as clearly imagined.
I think personally that the South African president handled himself very, very gracefully. He was very intelligent, and some of the points which he was pointing out made a lot of sense. One of the biggest points was, if a was happening in South Africa, why would I be having white people in my cabinet? It just doesn't make any sense.
I don't even need to watch movies anymore. Trump's Oval Office meetings with world leaders alone is entertainment enough. Because yet again, with Zelensky flashbacks,
You don't have the cards right now.
the world has been left stunned at what we just witnessed yesterday.
The poor, the farmer.
I don't know how it can get any worse.
I mean, I guess we all kind of knew that it was going to be a little bit tense because Ramaphosa and Donald Trump have been beefing online for a little bit now. But what no one expected was for Donald Trump to ambush Ramaphosa with videos, a compilation of videos, and a stack of news articles.
Turn the lights down and just put this on. It's right behind you.
And we sure as hell didn't expect Elon Musk to watch on in silence. I mean, look.
I think honestly that Elon Musk is the Antichrist. And I've been watching more and more videos where people are exposing Elon's projects, products, and most of his products are just garbage. I mean, I wanted the Cybertruck. I was a big fan of Elon before, and I was like, oh my gosh, Elon is a genius. But now I think he's just a sleazy salesman. Even your AI is saying that you're mistaken, but then again, you're just peddling this garbage about this white genocide in South Africa, which there is no substantial evidence of. I would understand if it was, let's say, 1,000 people which got unalived. Then I would understand. But if we're talking about 45 people or 100 people, that's not a genocide. Yes, South Africa does have a problem with crime, but it goes for both black and white people.
Now, the pressure leading up to this meeting has been building for years. Not many people know this, but Trump first commented on farm murders in South Africa during his first term in this 2018 tweet. It read, "I have asked the Secretary of State to closely study the South Africa land and farm seizures and expropriations and the large-scale killing of farmers." And back then, I guess similar to now, the South African government dismissed Trump's claims, saying, South Africa totally rejects the narrow perception which only seeks to divide our nation and reminds us of our colonial pasts. Hashtag land expropriation at real Donald Trump at presidency ZA. Now, fast forward 7 years, Trump has not let it go. In fact, he's doubled down to the point where he has cut aid to South Africa, continuously is calling out the alleged government land grabs and white genocide. And of course, by far the most controversial one, fast-tracking that white Afrikaner refugee program. Now, all of these have been hugely controversial in both America and South Africa. So finally, when the two heads of these nations met...
Sometimes, I think the best thing to do is just let a fool show how stupid he is. Like, I did not even think that Trump was this stupid. Are you telling me the president of the United States don't have a computer which he can fact check? Literally, just go to ChatGPT. That's it. It's like, this is so dumb. It's so stupid. If I was Trump, I would get the head of the CIA to brief everyone, because that just gives it a little more legitimacy. The South African president brought so many people which spoke on his behalf. And his strongest point was the fact that if there is a genocide happening towards white people in my country? If that is happening, why would I be having white people as my advisors?
Is there a white genocide in South Africa?
No, there's no sign of it, never has been. In fact, whites are economically the strongest group. They benefited from democracy more than anybody else. 64% of all boardrooms in South Africa are still white. The average income of white South Africans are vastly higher than black South Africans. No. They have better schools, they have better education, they have private health care. This is the land of milk and honey if you're white.
What was supposed to be in a pretty brief bilateral meeting turned into an over hour-long debate.
That scene, you see how many crosses they have. Those crosses, that's a dead person in every one of them.
We cannot have those people sitting in the union buildings making decisions.
Death, 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 horrible death, death.
We have too many deaths, but it's across the board.
These are all people that recently got killed. Yeah. I don't know how it can get any worse. These are
Now, to be fair, though, it did start off pretty good. You know, there's a bit of jokes here and there, some pleasantries. Trump said that Ramaphosa was extremely respected in some circles, but in others, not so much. But then, you know, they laughed that off and they said, like us all, like us all. Trump even cracked a joke saying that Ramaphosa called him and he said, I don't know where he got my number.
I don't know where he got my number, but I picked up.
Point is, all good stuff. They then started taking questions from the press. Trump lashed out at a few of them, you know, nothing out of character.
It's NBC trying to get off the subject of what you just saw. You are a real, you know, you're a terrible reporter. And you're a disgrace. No more questions from you. Go ahead.
But things started to take a pretty serious turn when a South African reporter asked Trump,
What does it take for you to be convinced that there's no white genocide in South Africa?
But before he could answer that, Ramaphosa, who was actually Mandela's chief negotiator, quickly jumped in and said that he could answer that for the president.
Well, I can answer that for the president. It's for him. No, seriously.
I'd rather have him answer.
Yeah,
Now, this is the point where we got that reaction from Elon watching on in silence. And yeah, he laughs out, but then turns to serious real quick. Pretty sure there was a few eyebrow wiggles in there. Anyway, point is, Ramaphosa said that it was going to take a Trump actually listening to the voices of South Africans themselves.
listening to their stories, to their perspective. That is the answer to your question.
But how Trump responded to that kind of shocked everyone. I don't think anyone was expecting this apart from them, because they planned something. He asked for the room's lights to be dimmed and for everyone to watch what he prepared on the screen.
Turn the lights down and just put this on. It's right behind you.
We don't care. We can do whatever you want to do.
Now, what followed was a compilation of videos, but most notably, one of them from Julius Malema, who is a political leader in South Africa of the EFF. And in this, he is singing a struggle song with this huge, crowd chanting, "Kill the Boer, kill the white farmer."
Kill the Boer!
Yeah, but let's give a little context, right? Why is he singing that? No one is asking that question. Why is he singing "Kill the Boers"? If South Africa is such a peaceful country, right? I don't know. I'm going to leave it up to you guys, because when it comes to black plight, no one wants to address the problem which we have. The fact is that people came to Africa. They colonized us. Then they enslaved us. And after that, they don't want to leave Africa. If you look at what's happening in Burkina Faso right now, we said enough is enough. Traore, okay, take over. Okay, fine. We're gonna nationalize our resources. We're gonna help our people. When we start doing that, then America and all of these countries, then they start having proxy wars to just keep us poor. So they can come there, the United Nations can come there and pretend that, oh my gosh, we're helping the Africans, but they're just looting, stealing from us. They came and they did shit to us. They threw our kids into crocodiles' mouths. That's how they killed our kids. How do you guys think that AIDS came to Africa? It's because people from Europe came down to Africa under the guise of that we're going to provide vaccines to the black kids and the mothers. But then what they did is they injected us with AIDS.
Donald Trump seems to be on a mission to have ever increasingly embarrassing meetings in the Oval Office. Most recently, he hosted the president of South Africa, who he looked in the face and told, "Your country has a white genocide." And the president was like, "Well, respectfully, no, that's not happening." And Donald Trump's like, "Yes, it is." And then he pulled out evidence, only that evidence has all been debunked. Like, he showed a video of all of these little white crosses along a roadway. And Donald Trump said, these are burial sites right here. And then he said, each one of these white things you see is a cross. There's approximately 1,000 of them. They're all white farmers, the family of white farmers. Those people are all killed, Trump added. So first of all, apparently people are just buried on top of each other along a roadway, by his logic. No, those are not burial sites, nor do they represent dead farmers, and you don't have to take my word for it. You can take the word of the man who put up those crosses. There were 2 farmers who were killed, and as part of a protest to that, they went along this roadway and put white crosses up that were then removed after the protest. They didn't represent individual people. It was just about these 2 people. Then Donald Trump showed a video where a person in a red beret repeatedly chants, "Kill the boer, kill the farmer," and speaks about taking land without compensation. That person is Julius Malema, who founded the small but radical party Economic Freedom Fighters after being expelled from the African National Congress, of which the president is a member. And after playing that video, the president explained to Donald Trump that does not represent the policies of this government. South Africa's opposition agriculture minister also said many parties had worked to keep extremists out of government. That guy and his group are extremists. They are not in power. And then Donald Trump pulled out a photo and he's like, these are dead white people who were killed in the genocide. The picture he's showing is from the Congo, because Africa is a continent that has many countries within it. It wasn't in South Africa that happened. It was in the Congo. And in response, the president of South Africa, who had to sit there and be berated by a man who confidently declared things that were categorically false and used evidence that was inaccurate and not true, his only response he could really say was, "I'm sorry I don't have a plane to give you." Because apparently this administration, if you do something like gift them a plane, they forgive all kinds of terrible things. But today, my feed is full of conservative creators who all made the same video where they look at the camera and have music playing and they nod as text on the screen reads, "Donald Trump confronting the president of South Africa about the white genocide is exactly what I voted for." Is it? You voted for theatrics based on conspiracy theories that are false, using fake information? That's what you voted for? Meanwhile, while you're celebrating this big W, more than 7 million could lose Medicaid in House mega bill approved Thursday. Yeah, they're going to take away Medicaid for a ton of people, not to mention all the food assistance programs that are being shut down that will affect children, will affect veterans, will affect seniors. And you're too busy looking over here as they snap their fingers and go, "White genocide, look what's happening in South Africa, we got to help." And you're like, "Oh, that's terrible," as they literally rob basic shit from you, as they use your tax dollars to import white immigrants and simultaneously use your tax dollars to deport brown immigrants. And I'm all for people who need protection being allowed to come here and seek protection. But meanwhile, he's revoked the protection, the asylum status of thousands of Venezuelans, for example, who face actual real threats, while giving it to people who aren't facing the threats that he's made up. That's this administration.
The farmer killed the poor. The farmer. Brr, pa, pa. Brr, pa,
Now, this song does have a long history and quite a bit of context to it. It originated during apartheid, but regardless, it made its point. And Trump said directly to Ramaphosa, if this song was sung in America, the people singing it would be arrested. And
yes, but Trump got almost assassinated in his own country.
Didn't seem that Ramaphosa disagreed with this because he said our government policy is completely against what he is saying. We're talking about Malema. And he explained that Malema's party is a small fringe group with no influence on government policy. Now, while it is true that they don't have influence on policy, the EFF does currently rank as the 4th largest party in the National Assembly. Now, some of the other videos shown by Trump was what he claimed to be this mass burial site of over 1,000 farmers. He claimed that each of these white crosses represents a white farmer that had been killed. Now, while it is true that it does represent white farmers who have been killed, it's for 2 of them, not for over 1,000. Now, this is actually for Glenn and Vida Rafferty. They were murdered in 2020, and the footage shows these white crosses like along this South African highway, and it was actually created as a tribute organized by local residents to raise awareness for farm killings in the area. So while the number of how many killed were incorrect, it still has the same core message. But either way, Trump wasn't done. He then brought out something else that he prepared, this stack of news articles about farm murders. And I see Daily Mail in there, so immediately it's not true. I'm joking. Sorry, not bringing my personal wars and battles into this. Now, in all seriousness, I did actually do a full video on this topic on my TikTok, and upon researching for that video, it is in fact verifiable that there are indeed farm attacks in South Africa and white farmers that are being killed. Data from civil rights organizations like AfriForum and Tau SA clearly show that, but the ultimate question is whether the amount or the number or the way that it's being done constitutes genocide or even just a widespread racially motivated killings. That is the...
But why are the farmers getting attacked? Why are the farmers getting killed? Why? Is it maybe because they came there and took something which wasn't theirs? Is it maybe because they came there and they threw our children into crocodiles' mouths?
Part that's contended because he often uses the words white genocide and widespread killings. So as they start getting into the weeds of all of this, it's at this point where other South African leaders that they brought along, including the country's richest billionaire, he came along, and 2 professional top golfers that Trump, in fact,
that Trump wanted to listen to. These 2 gentlemen are golfers. Why did they come? Well, because Trump loves golf. And Trump wants to hear from the white people. Can you tell us something? You know Elon, right? Tell us something. Don't you think that the South African president knows more about these killings than the golfers?